Influencer marketing is such a buzzword that I'm sure you must have heard it many times. But influencer marketing में actually क्या होता है? ये कैसे काम करता है और इन्फ्लुएंसर मार्केटिंग ब्रांड्स एंड उनके बिजनेसेस के लिए कैसे हेल्पफुल होता है? Well, who can answer these questions better than Kalyan, who co-founded one of the best influencer marketing platform called Klug Klug? Let me tell you that Klug Klug has served some really big brands like Geo, Havas Group, Group M, and so on. तो आइए आज इस खास बातचीत में जानते हैं क्लुक क्लुक की स्टार्टअप जर्नी और इन्फ्लुएंसर मार्केटिंग इंडस्ट्री के बारे में कुछ खास बातें। वेलकम कल्याण।
Hi, thanks, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, Kalyan, before we really, talk about this startup and how you began with it, I really want to understand from you, like, what is influencer marketing? Because this is something which is everywhere, but nobody is able to really, in this cluttered social media world, nobody is really able to define it. So, what is influencer marketing according to you?
Well, actually, there are many, you're right. There is a lot of perceptions, definitions, and use cases that are there. But if I had to simplify it, it's really simply the fact that a brand uses people who have a good amount of social media currency on some platform, be it Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and so on, to talk about the brand and to create advocacy for the brand, which is create some credible communication. And normally, what influencer marketing does entail is to go beyond basic brand speak, like I would do in an ad, and try to have the influencer say it in a way her audiences would like to, hear about it and believe it. So it is using a credibility layer of the influencer to drive more brand love.
Right, but since, like you mentioned, that influencer marketing happens at many levels, from micro influencers to macro influencers. Today, everybody is acting like an influencer. Like even if I have 1,000 followers on Instagram or
Yeah,
Facebook, for that matter, there are brands who are ready to onboard me as their influencer.
that's right.
So, who, according to you, is actually an influencer in today's world?
So this is a very good question, and I personally and as Klug Klug we like to talk about. We saying that basis the size and the presence of the influencer, literally anybody, and you're right, anybody with more than 1,000 followers can be an influencer. Therefore, the question that a brand or a business that is trying to use influencers needs to ask is, what is the agenda that I have? What do I want from the influencer? So, for example, a really big influencer would be very good at driving visibility. Some of them are very good at driving cool, and some of them are very good at driving what I call rational benefits, which means, let's say I'm a product that requires somebody to believe in aspects that work in the product. So if I'm a serum, I really want to know how scientific the serum is. Does it work for the influencer? Does the influencer say it? Versus a really big influencer might be very good at talking about fashion and lifestyle, but a serum might require somebody who's more specialist. So various degrees. So anybody can be an influencer. You are right. Technically, there are very interesting trends right now. The world of macro and nano influencers is what's getting the most traction, because the big influencers have been overused, or those are the cliches, let me say. And it's the middle size, the more emerging influencers who have more credibility. In fact, one of the graphs, uh, just like that I like to use, is the size of the influencer and the credibility of the influencer in many ways has an inverse correlation, which means the bigger I am as an influencer, the less likely my followers are going to believe that I'm saying something positive about a brand without any incentive. So it's the sweet spot. So you as a brand have to ask yourself, why do I want to do influencer marketing? Do I want visibility or do I want credibility? And answering all those layered questions therefore points to the fact that you could use very different influences. In fact, for a big brand, you might want to say, let me use some big influencers, let me use some mid-size influencers, and let me use a lot of really small influencers who are very good at convincing people.
All right. So, since you mentioned that we are talking about influencer marketing, so we cannot ignore the fact that influencer marketing is a very competitive industry also. There are many brands working and claiming themselves as an influencer marketing agency. So,
Yeah.
what really motivated you to come with a startup like Klug Klug in this competitive market, and how you differentiate Klug Klug from other platforms?
Thank you. There are many platforms out there, and how we differentiate ourselves is to go back to the backstory which you just asked. So, I have been personally a marketing professional for a good 15, 18 years before I started Klug. And even having served as the head of marketing, let's say for brands like Rami Circle and the GM marketing for Virgin Mobile 14, 15 years ago, uh, what I personally, and therefore me and my co-founder Weber, what we looked at is saying, how do we make it real? What is it that you really want to do beyond the trend of going into influencer marketing? What is the insightful, meaningful, marketing savvy way to get into influencer marketing? So that's how we started. And when we started with a managed service company. And after doing many years of influencer marketing, we realized as a tech platform, you need to go beyond all the bells and whistles that technology can just give you deep, insightful aspects of influencer marketing. And one of the very interesting things we are able to pivot to is to say, uh, what why should you even be doing influencer marketing as a brand? Second, if you want to do influencer marketing, what is the core objective within that? And therefore, who are the right influencers? And what we were able to therefore come up and look at in terms of versions is to say, many platforms out there, some of them answer some of the questions, but we feel that Klug literally answers almost all the questions. And what is our thinking there? Our thinking is very simple. We're saying an influencer is your mouthpiece, and it is the audiences of the influencer that matter. And that thinking changes your way you design your influencer marketing tech stack. So, how are we different? We are able to say, look, there are many problems. We have the largest database, which is how do we make sure almost any influencer in any part of the world that you're considering on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, how do we make sure that we find them, that nobody gets missed out? And how do we go beyond the cliches of influencer marketing to look at number driven decisions? And there are many problems out there. For example, because influencer market is increasing so much, and because there are so many brands spending so much money on influencer marketing, a lot of influencers are growing on the power of fake followers, inactive followers, non credible followers. Our tech is able to detect that. And most importantly, a lot of tech by a lot of platforms are able to do a decent job of it. What we were able to do is through data, through machine learning, actually give you a far more accurate outcome than other platforms. So, accuracy, size, and truly a business oriented thinking versus a tech oriented thinking. Nothing on Klug Klug is designed for a frill or to make it look good. It is to there to make a very precise answer for a marketeer's decision making in his or her choice of influencers.
अगर मैं आपकी ब्रांड क्लुक क्लुक की ही बात करूँ, सो वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग्स जो मुझे लगती है इज द नेम. I really
Yes.
want you to, describe it for us. Like, what is Klug Klug? What is the meaning behind it, and how this, idea came?
Great. We always get this question. ये सवाल सब पूछते हैं कि क्लुक क्लुक कहाँ से आया है.
Right.
So,
It is very unique, actually.
so while we were building the tech and we built the tech, फिर हमने सोचा कि यार नाम क्या रखना है. Now most tech companies tend to go with something weird in terms of Greek names, alpha, theta, zeta, phi, falana, tekna. And we said no, we'll switch to another language called German because we needed an interesting name. And in German, Klug means wise and clever. So we said, we want to stand for more wise and clever than to be snappy and cool and all of that. We think
Oh,
so. Wise and clever comes Klug. Then there is one more layer to this story. So we wanted to call ourselves Klug, but Klug.com was already taken. So we said, hey, Klug Klug sounds even better because it sounds like Duck Duck Go and so on. So we said, okay, now that we have a domain, now we can think of the name, and that's how we call ourselves Klug Klug. So yeah, it's
that's
quite an
quite
interesting.
interesting. That's quite interesting that, you are actually serving it 2x. So, yeah.
Yes, we are. We are.
Also, like, we have got the idea behind the name of your brand, but how do you really help brands? Like, you have explained what is influencer marketing for you, what your brand does, but what is the
Hmm.
process? How do you do it at Klug Klug? How you really hunt clients? How do you really attract them? So what is the gimmick behind influencer marketing at Klug Klug?
So, look, I think influencer marketing is growing. It's been growing anything between 25 to 40% globally, between depending on the geography. So, influencer marketing has already got a big traction. So, what are we solving? We saying that, look, why is Klug being chosen? There has been many technologies out there. By the way, we've replaced world's leading technologies and with Klug, from markets like Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, to India, to Southeast Asia. Now, therefore, what is the problem that we are solving? So, first problem I was telling you is that, look, there is a lot of feel good marketing that has been going on in terms of influencer marketing, and we're saying let's bring science basis first principles, which means define the audience of an influencer, and we will instantly tell you who are the influencers who have the right audience for your brand. So that's marketing. And level one above that is we say, look, India specifically has a big problem, but globally it's a big problem. Let's say on Instagram, in India, more than 50% of the influencers have at least 60% inactive or non credible followers. So when we go to a brand, any brand in India, we can actually show them without them having to tell us anything, because our tech can detect activity by any brand. And we can show them आपने पिछले 3 महीने या 4 महीने में इतने इन्फ्लुएंसर यूज किए, ये लोग हैं, और इनमें से इतने सारे के कम से कम 60% इनएक्टिव ऑडियंस या फेक ऑडियंस है. So we can go to any brand right now, be it big or small, D2C or the biggest handset phone brands or the biggest FMCG brands, and show them that right now, if they just use Klug and went forward and made whatever little decisions with the smallest amount of money, they could save not 5 or 15 or 10% of their spends. They could enhance by at least 40% in India, and it can go up to 70%. It's imagine a big handset company that spends, let's say, 20 crores a year can
Right.
literally save 7, 8, 10 crores to make it go to real audiences.
That's
Second, I will give you another very fun example. All these beauty lifestyle brands, and now when I tell it to you, it'll sound obvious. They use all these beauty lifestyle influencers.
right.
And in India, out of, let's say, a few million female influencers, only about 9.5% have at least 50% female audience, which means if you talk to a L'Oreal or a D2C brand, a fashion brand, or a Lakme, they've been using influencers with a majority of male audiences.
Okay.
Why? That's how the internet works. It's roughly 70-30 male female on Instagram,
True.
and normal human behavior leads males to follow females. So even so, our tech can tell you that out of all these female influencers, who are the ones who have actually female audiences? And
Right.
even big brands like PNG and so on, they have been using influencers with massively, let's say, promoting a mother care diaper, and still they have very low uh, relevant audiences. So there's a lot
So,
to be done, and just the basics makes them. It literally our clients' eyes pop out. They say, "Are you telling me I have almost wasted 70% of my money?" I said, "That's data for you. You have not wasted. Nothing is wrong here. It is just new technology brings new data for better
Right.
decision.
You mentioned that, the whole process includes a lot of technology also.
Yes.
So, how do you really ensure, like as a startup business, how do you really ensure that all your employees are, educated with the latest technology and are up to date with the latest technology, because technology is dynamic and it is changing, like, it is changing every now and then. So, how do you really
Yes.
manage to like do this?
Well, that is a bit of a secret sauce, but I'll still give you
Okay.
the top lines. So, first of all, we are not a siloed company, which means the tech firm doesn't work just on tech. And as founders and users, we get our hands dirty for literally a few hours on the platform every day. We are also, we keep an eye and we do a lot of influencer marketing campaigns as another business. So we are really keeping an eye and we get a lot of people telling us. So we have great influencers to brands and we keep an eye out. So really we keep an eye out and we look at what is the changing, what are the trends. In fact, we can predict the trends in advance using Klug. We can tell you that, hey, in India, in the last 6 months, there are almost 30,000 plus influencers who have doubled their followers. And we know who are growing, who is not moving, where is that. So we have both behavioral data, we have that we are able to model, and we have platform oriented data because we are heavy users. So that's how, and we feed it into the tech, and even our tech team keeps an eye out on UI changes, UX changes, what is Instagram doing differently, what has Google announced in terms of for YouTube and so on, or what is ByteDance doing around TikTok. And we bring it all together. I made it sound really simple, but it's a lot of work. There's a lot of partners who give us this insightful inputs, and we keep building. And what we try and always do is keep it above board, stay GDPR sort of compliant, stay away from any privacy issues. So we are always modeling, predicting, and making that modeling and prediction algorithm sharper and stronger.
साथ ही हम बेशक क्लुक को एक स्टार्टअप कह रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर मैं आपके बिजनेस स्टैटिस्टिक्स देखूं, सो क्लुक इज अवेलेबल इन 28 countries and has some really big brands on board, some big
Right.
clients. सो किस तरह से आपकी ये पूरी जर्नी रही, एकदम बेसिक से स्टार्ट करके आप कैसे इतने बड़े क्लाइंट्स तक लैंड कर पाए, एंड व्हाट इट
So,
टुक?
we've been lucky.
ओके.
So there is two things. It is not us who's been selling the product. It is the product that has been selling itself. So how did we go there? We work 14 hours a day. We call all our acquaintances, friends, businesses. One of the biggest recommenders for us, in fact, is our clients. So there are at least 7 to 8 D2C brands who have recommended us to about 50 to 60 other D2C brands who are our clients now. Then, also, there's been an increasing awareness. Everybody, all clients, brands, agencies, even influencer marketing agencies take our technology to help them do things faster, better. And there is a big awareness, evangelization on technology, data to make hard decisions is already on the rise. So literally, we have to show up and tell. So we reached, for example, we were in Indonesia. We met the group CEO there for Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Thailand. And Thailand. And he said, "Okay, this looks really good. You should speak to our tech global team." And because of that, so by the way, Klug actually works in 200 plus countries.
ओके.
Having said that, we are powering data through our partners and agencies and clients in over 28 countries already. And we go directly to brands. So we are partnered through agencies, be it a Havas or a Group M or a Publicis. We are partnered with directly with agencies. We are partnered with brands we speak to directly. So we've been just busy, but The luck is that we've been lucky with great, gracious clients giving us the audience the opportunity to speak to them.
Right.
So that's luck. Everybody works hard. I think we got lucky, and the product is good. So when we have that one conversation, we have a very high success outcome, and that's why we've been able to move fast. We are literally a year old. We launched in March 21.
Right.
We went to market in June, July, and we have all these. So technically, in less than a year, because it's still not June, we've
So,
been lucky with a lot of clients.
right. So एज एन इन्फ्लुएंसर मार्केटिंग प्लेटफॉर्म आप बहुत सारे ब्रांड्स को मार्केटिंग में हेल्प कर रहे हैं बट व्हाट इज दैट
हाँ जी.
वन की लाइक हाउ डू यू मार्केट योरसेल्फ do you also use influencer marketing or it is just the word of mouth as you mentioned?
So you're right. We use a very different kind of influence. See, everything is influence, right? Somebody has to tell
So
somebody.
right, it's just at
So,
different
but our
levels.
environment is a very B2B. Yeah. So, in a sense, our evangelists and our advocates are clients we've got. In fact, when a client is very happy, we literally request them, look, I can see you are happy. You love what we've done for you. Can you recommend at least 3 or 4 more clients? And they're more than happy to do that. So we are using the snowballing of happy clients to reach more clients and the conviction. In fact, we just signed on a leading e-commerce platform in the Middle East, based out of Dubai and Saudi Arabia. And they have another company, just like Flipkart has Mintra. They have another e-com platform that does beauty lifestyle, and they chose us. Then, so yeah, it's been a one. So we've not been using influencer marketing. B2B marketing works very differently, but we've been able to make a few people happy who've been able to reach us to many more people. What we have done decently in India is, on the power of these happy conversations, we've been able to put it out in the news. And maybe because our content is good, a lot of leading publications to small publications have covered us multiple times in great detail about our successes that we've had so early. But mostly, you're right. Some of them just tell us, you guys are less than a year old or you're about a year old. How did you do this?
Right.
We just, so the joke I have between me and my co-founders, we live out of our laptop bags and whatever the cheapest flights we can get and the cheapest BNBs, and we just keep moving, keep meeting, and keep demoing, because nothing works like showing the product.
Right, right. So, if I, talk about your journey, it has been, very happening in just a very small time. So, I'm
Yeah.
sure as a startup, you must have faced some challenges too. So, what are those challenges that you faced in your startup journey and how you managed to overcome them?
This is a very heavy question. Uh, so let me try and answer it in a few simple ways. So we've been working on this. What looks like we are a year old in terms of a registered firm called Klug Klug
Right.
does not tell you that the fact that we've been working on this technology for almost 5 years and a lot of
Okay.
money with a lot of tech partners and developing it. So what have we? We've just, we've had moments where we felt that we might be getting in the right direction, and we've stuck to that. And so that's one part. The second part of it is the other challenges we've had is finding the right problems to solve. So suppose, I could go and do everything myself, but the philosophy we've had is, if somebody has already invented the wheel, I'm not going to go and make the wheel myself. I'm going to take that wheel and build a better wheel out of it. So there's a lot of code, there's a lot of tech, and we've gone and looked at a lot of platforms, and we said, can we be like the Lord of the Rings? Look at everything, pick the best parts, find the right people to do it. If it is already done, integrate. So you become a master aggregator. That approach versus being that of a true blooded technician or technologist, that I will build everything, it is, so we had to go from I will build everything to I will put together the right pieces and build just the intelligence that will give the best outcome.
So influencer marketing is a topic that we can discuss for hours. It is so interesting and huge. But since we have
Yeah.
time constraints, so I'll come to my last question for the day. Um, as a startup, not just a startup, as an influencer marketing expert also, do you think that influencer marketing is overdone? Because today everybody at some level is influencing the other person in the world of social media. So do you think it is overdone?
There has been a lot of influencer marketing that needs to be revisited. A lot of brands are asking the harder question: I'm doing so much influencer marketing. What exactly am I getting out of it in terms of the right audiences, and what is it doing for my brand? So I think there has been a lot of brands who've done it because another competing brand is doing influencer marketing, so the brand has to do that as well. But where it's at is we are happy to be at an inflection point to be able to help brands answer those questions. Why should you do the influencer marketing? And if you want to do it, how to do it with your eyes open. It's and that's the part where we think that yes, influencer marketing needs to be revisited. It needs to be revisited through hard data. In God we trust. Everybody else must bring data.
Right. So with this, I'll close this interaction. But since we are a startup, we are a media platform for startups. So I want a quick, takeaway from you that how influencer marketing can really be beneficial for startups.
So startups need to really question their brand journey, their business journey, and where does influencer marketing fit in. So my advice would be focus on what your brand stands for, your product, and all the basics that they're doing. Once you've done that, focus on customer acquisition and get your unit metrics in place through paid media. Then comes influencer. Then you say run small experiments with influencers after putting all the hard questions to say who's the right influencer. Run a small experiment, establish those KPIs that I did this by this logic. I found one, two, four influencers, small ones. I tested, it worked. Which one didn't work? Drop them. Find the ones that worked. Find more of the ones that will work for you, and keep testing and keep increasing slowly. So, influencer marketing should be done in a measured, cautious, engineered, scientific way. You know, I've seen many startups looking at brands and influencer, and they spend a lot of money for a bootstrap brand or even a early funded brand, and only to find out that that influencer had the wrong audiences, or not even real audiences for that matter. So be wary, be cautious, small experiments, establish the numbers, see the KPIs, then press the button on doing more. But be cautious, just like all other marketing decisions.
Thank you so much for such insightful conversation, Kalyan.
Thank you for having me here. It's really grateful that you thought of us and brought us onto your platform.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this was Kalyan Kumar, CEO and co-founder of Klug Klug with us. And I hope आपको ये इन्फ्लुएंसर मार्केटिंग की जो कॉन्वर्जेशन थी और जो क्लुक क्लुक की स्टार्टअप जर्नी थी वो काफ़ी पसंद आई हो। ऐसी ही और स्टार्टअप जर्नी और इन्फॉर्मेटिव टॉपिक्स पे बात करने के लिए जुड़े रहिए टाइस न्यूज़ के साथ। साथ ही हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। हमारे चैनल पर आपको स्टार्टअप वर्ल्ड की सारी लेटेस्ट अपडेट्स मिलती रहेंगी। Also, you can visit www.tice.news to read more enticing startup stories. Thank you.